New to Medical Device Sales Meetup in Tampa, Florida, September 7th. Come join us where you're going to be networking with other individuals looking to break into medical device sales, with reps that are already in medical device sales that have had success in medical device sales. And it's just a time for community. We have our current and past people from New to Medical Device Sales. They get to meet each other in person. We go over different things we're seeing in the industry, and it's a time for you all to network and meet other like-minded individuals. And this is our time where we make it family-like, like you're gonna see from past events that we've done. So come, mark your calendars, come learn more about medical device sales, how to stand out, how to break into an amazing industry, and how to be a top performer in medical device sales. If you have any questions, click the link below to find out more information. And I can't wait to see you in Tampa, Florida on September 7th.
Welcome back to First Year in Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, coming to you today after a nice, intense workout. But you guys do not care about that. You are here to learn more about medical device sales and how to be successful in medical device sales. Before I get started, I just want to tell you guys how thankful I am for each and every one of you, all the kind messages that I get, that people are sharing us on LinkedIn, and that it continues to provide value to you all. Again, this is what my whole goal is for you, is just to continue to help progress you to have success inside the industry or get into the industry if you guys are listening, not in the industry yet. If you're not in the industry, go check out our podcast, New to Medical Device Sales. I just say that because we found out there's a lot of people coming and listening to that who aren't in the industry. The podcast, New to Medical Device Sales, will help you guys break into the industry. This is more tailored for helping you guys have success once you are in the industry. But I know people who aren't in sometimes want to learn how to be successful before they're in. So I get it. But going over today for First Year in Medical Device Sales is how to document everything to be successful in medical device sales. And the reason I wanted to have this topic today is because I was just having a conversation with a colleague who they were in med device sales. They actually just got let go in med device sales. And where that led to was the conversation of, he was verbally told by his manager that if he ever was let go, that he would get 4 months worth of compensation of his salary. And then of course, now that it has happened, guess what? There is no talk of any compensation besides like paying him out what he has done already, compared to like this week, next week, right? Maybe it's 2 weeks or maybe it's only 1 month worth of compensation instead of the 4 months. And so he literally said, he's like, going back to what you always say, Jacob, is I should have got that in writing. I should have had that in an email. When they said it to me, I should have responded back and said, from our conversation, just want to restate, excited about blah, 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 right? Or however you want to phrase it. The reason I wanted to come into today and give you guys just some knowledge to continue to help you, I've talked about this before, but it's documenting everything you do in med device sales, because people will lie to your face. Also, people will forget that they lied to your face. And what I mean by that is there's people, when you're in med device sales, you talk to a lot of reps. They talk to a lot of reps. They say a bunch of things and then they don't remember, right? And I've talked about this on New to Medical Device Sales. I've talked about this on this podcast. As I've been in cases, literally, they were like, where's the equipment? And they blamed me. They said, well, the rep didn't even bring it. And then I had to show that I took pictures of it, that I dropped it off at this time. I filled out the card and I took pictures. And then sometimes I would even email it to the leads if we were having enough problems the day or 2 days before, when I dropped the tray to say, hey, here it is. Here's all the proof, all of the stuff. So the reason I just wanted to come on today is, no matter what, you guys should be documenting everything you do, whether it's conversations with coworkers, if you're having conversations with managers, if you're having conversations with hospitals, with leads, with nurses, everything should always be documented. Even if it is you sending a text to a coworker saying, hey, I had a conversation with this nurse. It went really poorly. They said ABC and it was a very tough conversation, or whatever it is. If you've been in med device sales for any time, there's a pretty good chance that you've probably gone through the same situation that I would go through, where it's like you would walk in and you would have a scrub tech, a nurse, a lead, somebody just in the worst mood ever. And they would treat you extremely poorly. And we've all been in those moments. Hopefully you haven't, but most likely you have, where someone was very passive aggressive. They made very inappropriate comments towards you. They said something that was very backhanded, whatever it is. And then of course, everyone's cool until they're not. And even for myself, if somebody wanted to dish stuff out my mindset was, again, I always tell you guys in my first year, I was the golden retriever wiggling my butt, always like smiling. But after I had dealt with all the crap for the year, I turned the territory from the lowest performing to top 10. Like I was crushing it, take my numbers away from it. I had been there for over a year, created relationships, shown how hard I worked with them, created the trust with all these people. Once I would have those people like actually start being rude to me, I would just call them out on their crap and just be like, hey, we don't need to go through this today because of ABC. Now, the thing is when you do that in front of somebody else, these people can get embarrassed. And then what I would have happen is like, for example, I've had nurses curse at me, say horrible things to me. And then I was like, you're not going to talk to me that way. Or I'll make a comment saying, hey, you need to stop. Or I will also just do a little comment back to them to be checking them to be like, you don't get to talk to me that way. And then they would go to the nurse lead or they would go to the director and then say I was harassing them when everybody in the room. And I remember there was multiple times that somebody would freak out. They were being extremely rude. Everyone could see it. Anesthesiologist, the doc, like they wouldn't do it, of course, when the doctor's in there because the doctor would just kick them out. But that kind of stuff would happen. And I would have to go and say, hey, nurse, did you see that? Could you document that? Could you send me in a message? And they're like, yes. Or like anesthesiologist, did you see what went on? Did you see the interaction that went on? And they're like, yes, I did. Hey, can you send me an email? Here's my email. Can you just please write this, that you did see this interaction with this person? The reason I'm saying that, that's not you guys get in trouble or being bad reps. It's just you dealing with human beings. And there's going to be some days you're dealing with people that are on edge. They're ready to lose it. They're freaking out. They hate their job. Somebody yelled at them last night. They don't like where they're at in life, you know, whatever it is. And you're the one getting all of the backlash. And again, what I've always told you guys is, again, when you're first starting, that's just like, hey, unfortunately, just try to take it. Just try to calm the situation. But we all have our moments, most likely, where you might not want to take it anymore. And I got to that point where it's like, I'm not going to have people do that, right? So for example, one of the examples I can tell you is like right after one of my best friends passed away in brain cancer, you know, I literally showed up to this case because they called me freaking out. It was an extreme case, which it wasn't that hard, but they didn't want to go by themselves. I went back to be with his family and for the funeral, and then I went and drove home and had like a little week vacation just to get my mind right. I cut it short so I could be at this case. And then I showed up. Well, I showed up and nobody let me know that they delayed the case, right? Even though I had called and done all the stuff that we always do. And they said, nope, it's on time. Showed up. It's an hour delayed. Okay, so I'm there. Well, then they told me it was like an hour delayed. I had an account literally 10 minutes away where I was like, oh, I can go run some stuff. So I went and ran it. I came back. And when I got there, I was still 30 minutes before it was actually supposed to go. And then the scrub tech was putting it together. Then she freaked out. She was like, if you were to actually here on time, stuff would be ready. And I was like, well, before you get too excited, like I'm here 30 minutes early. The patient's not even here, like, and we're doing just fine. So it's all going to work out. She just started getting backlashy with me, just making comments. She called me a name and I just made the comment to her. And thankfully the lead and director was in the room. She was just being extremely rude. And I just said, hey, I just lost my best friend. I'm here because you guys told me you need my help. But if you want to continue to give me this attitude, be extremely rude to me, I can tell you 100% that the doctor will totally understand when I say I'm not going to be in this case and I'm not going to work with you today because of how you're treating me right now. And I'm here just to help you do your job. She cursed at me, threw my stuff on the floor, and then walked out. If you guys know anything, that means it wasn't sterile anymore, well, which was great. Thankfully, that OR director saw it all. I then sent her an email saying, hey, as you saw A, B, C, D, E, F, G happen, all this stuff. They called me in to their office at the end of it and said, hey, I want you to know that was so uncalled for her to do that to you. I really apologize. And we're so sorry that happened. She's actually on leave now. And like they actually took her off for a while. But the reason I'm telling you guys that is so many times that has happened where it was the opposite of that exact same situation took place, but nobody else, like the lead wasn't in there. They then would go and tell the director that I was harassing or being rude. And then it's like, now it's he said, she said, which is never a great place to be, especially in a hospital. So the reason I'm just saying that is if you guys know anything about a hospital, there's a lot of drama. And this might rub some people some wrong ways, but let me just sit here and tell you, after working with a lot of nurses, you know what nurses love? Drama. I will just sit here and tell you, if that rubs you the wrong way, sorry, but like I will just sit here and tell you I've been with multiple med device managers and they always just made comments and they're like, for whatever you do, please don't date a nurse. All before you freak out. My mom's a nurse. All right. So if you guys want to get all mad and freak out on me and tell me I'm horrible, there you are just creating more drama for yourself. Just kidding. But I think that's pretty funny. But the reason I'm just saying that is because a hospital can be a very toxic place. You can have people who don't like how much money they make. They don't like where they're at. And then what they always do is they blame you. And if I can sit here and tell you for anything that you guys are as a rep, you are always going to get blamed because you're not always there. You're not a part of the company. You're not a part of the hospital. And these nurses, these scrub techs, these other people, employees of the hospitals will always blame you. So I just wanted to come on here today, whether it is with your company and you're having talks with coworkers or you're having talks with managers that could go into pay or even quotas or whatever it is, that needs to be documented. Even if it's a manager saying, hey, we're going to do this, right? Like I tell our people, if they have a conversation with someone when they're trying to get hired and they talk about like, hey, the car stipend's this is going to be your reimbursement for mileage. You put that in the email and say, hey, Jim, it was great talking to you today. Really enjoyed our conversation and learning that the car stipend is $482 per month and that this, right? It's showing that you listen to them and that you're just verbalizing what they said, because you guys hopefully haven't dealt with this, but there are people who will say, hey, yeah, your car stipend's $600, you get hired. And then it's like, oh, it's $300 when you check the contract, right? So it's just always making sure that you guys have everything written down. And then again, if you are a rep, you are going into a hospital, you are dealing with people, you are having conferences, you are having meetings, you are documenting everything. That can literally be an email to yourself, because if stuff happens, which it does, you can go back and say, see, here's an email from this day at that time. Because I'll sit here and tell you the last thing is like when I was at one of my other companies, I was there, worked with people, told them how much the price was, documented everything, showed them all of it. Guess what? They wanted to take the cheap route, which many people will do. And they'll be like, well, I want the one that is the highest, but I don't want to pay it, so I'm going to get the lowest one, right? Well, I told them the differences. They said they understood. And then guess what happens? I get a call 3 weeks later getting that they're saying I lied to them, said I sold them that it was the brand new one. And literally in the email I pulled up 3 weeks before that I sent to that doctor, it said, this is not the new one. This is not the highest. This is the most basic, blah, blah, blah. And I put it in emails. Then I had doctors coming at me. I had like the university coming at me, and my CEO's like, what's going on? And guess what? It was squashed like that. Because I was like, here's an email, look at the date, look at the time, look at the conversation thread, and look at when I sent all the stuff. There's not a chance that somebody could have thought that what they're saying is true. But it goes back to people will believe what they want, they think what they want, they hear what they want, and then they're going to blame you. So the reason I'm just saying that is it's always just protect yourself in these situations, because you never know how people are going to be. And I always will tell you, many human beings will forget what they said to you. They said to you something 2 weeks ago because they're going to have 15 million other conversations. This is hopefully just a reminder to you all that when you guys are in med device sales, whether you're dropping off a tray, take a picture, send it to yourself, or I would put it in my notes, right? Document it. If you're having a conversation with somebody, make sure that you document it, and you even like, hey, it was great speaking with you today. It was great talking about A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If you talk to a director, and then send that email, always doing a follow-up, correct? So you can have your follow-ups, but now you're documenting it for safety. And then again, if you make a purchase order, you do whatever, document, hey, they bought this. This was the thread beforehand. Because going back to, there will be times that people will be like, this isn't right. You're telling the truth, or they didn't do their job. And the last thing we'll always say is there's many lazy human beings at the hospital, and it's why reps that are really good exist and do so well, is because most people won't do their own job. The amount of human beings that get paid between $50,000 and $150,000 at a hospital that literally can't even do two things, it's absolutely mind-blowing. So the reason I'm just saying that is they won't do their job. Then they'll expect you to do it. And then when it's not done, they'll blame you when it's not even in your job scope and you didn't even know about it because they were supposed to do it. So it's always just documenting yourself to keep yourself safe. Hopefully this is helpful for you all. If you guys are looking to just learn how to be better in medical device sales, or you guys are looking to break into medical device sales, you guys can click the link below. Always happy to get on a call with you guys and just learn more about who you are, learning about how to become a better rep or get into medical device sales. It's been interesting. We've had people that are literally making $60,000, $80,000, $100,000, but they're in med device sales, but they're not happy. They're either an associate or territory manager, but they're not where they want to be. And we've been able to get them to 150, 200 plus, because it's just knowing how to do it. And it's also, we do help you guys if you guys ever are wanting to have some coaching of like, hey, I'm brand new. I really don't know what I'm doing. How can you help me? We can have those conversations as well. And if you guys are wanting to break into medical device sales, you can click the link below or check out our podcast as well, New to Medical Device Sales. But I would tell you to go click the link below so you guys can learn more. If you guys can, press that like and subscribe button, as it's going to help us grow this channel, and share it with somebody that you feel like it could be helpful for. But I just want you guys to know I'm always here to help you. I always want to help you. And that's why I do this, is hopefully it's helping you guys become the best reps that you possibly can. And you can go out and absolutely crush it in medical device sales. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.